So, no, all things said, if there's nobody out there that suffers an injury and nobody feels like they need a tight end, I just don't see any. They're not going to trade him, and I don't see any reason that they would cut him. That's an opinion. The fact that he's here, I think, is a positive, and I think people are excited about that.
In the house. So Howard, obviously everyone looked at your report with Zach Ertz, and we know this whole narrative throughout the offseason has been that Zach is not going to be here. I think it was self-evident. Zach basically said goodbye at the end of last season and is very emotional about it. But Howie has been pretty steadfast that he wants value in return for Zach Ertz if he was going to move him. Hasn't been able to get that. I think the most important part of your report was that Zach is at the facility. He's been working out with his teammates. Where do you think Zach is mentally, and do you think he wants to play out his contract in Philadelphia?
I think mentally, the reason he came back is because mentally he's now okay. The past is the past. He's kind of accepted the fact that there really aren't teams out there that want to trade for him and give up what the Eagles want. First of all, it's difficult to trade whether you even getting a 6th or 7th round pick because you've got to take on his contract. The cap went down this year. There's not a lot of teams right now that need a tight end. And some teams, obviously, Buffalo was in the mix. I don't think Buffalo was really, or the reports were they were in the mix. I don't think they really were. Indianapolis, you would think, but they have a tight end as well. And they're not giving up a draft pick and taking on an $8+ million contract. So that's the reality of the situation. I think the most important thing when I was told that Zach was back in the facility is that he's back. He's accepted it. He's talked to veteran players. Those guys that were sitting out with him, some of them are still here after the last game. We remember they were sitting out on the field quite a while. One of those people was Jason Kelce, and I'm sure he's spoken quite often to Jason Kelce. And they welcome him back, and Zach's accepted that. I said in the report that there's a great chance that he would be here opening day. I think there's a good chance. I mean, I'm mincing words here, but if there's nobody out there that has an injury for a tight end or with a tight end, I don't think Zach gets traded. And with that, I think he's here to start the season. But the most important thing, I think, out of everything, back in the facility, he's been working out with the team. He will be there when they report on Tuesday. And he's accepted what's happened in the past. He's let the past move by. And obviously, he feels comfortable around players that he's been with before. And personally, I think he's a great influence for younger players in the locker room. Now, is he going to be the starting tight end? No, not unless Dallas Goedert gets hurt. Dallas Goedert's your starting tight end. Will Nick Sirianni use 2 tight ends in his offense like Doug Peterson did a lot last year and the years before? I hear he may not. So I don't know how much Zach is going to play. Here's another thing to consider. Zach, I think, is 20 catches away from being the all-time Eagles receiver. And that I know that makes him feel good when he surpasses that because he's supplanted. First of all, he's in Eagles history anyway, scoring the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But the reality is he will be in their history, and I don't know that anybody is going to pass that anymore with the way players move around and players get hurt. So that's something that I think he thought about and said, you know what, it'd be good, let all the bygones be bygones. He didn't get a contract they offered him. He's not going to get it now, and he's accepted playing here. And I think, John, you said it. It's it's going to be his last year in something, unless something crazy happens.
There's a couple things at play here, Howard. Certainly playing time. You mentioned he's going to be the number 2 tight end. We don't disagree with that. The fact that you say Nick Sirianni not looking to go to 12 personnel and 2 tight ends. I believe that that's his goal. But if Zach Ertz comes into camp and has the kind of form that he had previously, he may force his way onto the field. A lot of this comes down to timing. The Eagles would, I think, they'll still believe, be open to trading Zach Ertz, but want to get something in exchange. It's got to be a team that's willing to take on his salary that's on the contract right now. If this doesn't happen because of injury, if a spot doesn't open up with another team, would the Eagles think about still cutting Zach Ertz between now and the start of the season? If they do, what do you think they would earmark the money that they would save by cutting Zach Ertz for?
Well, let me take the back part of your question first. I don't think there's anybody to really earmark the money for right now. I mean, they need another corner probably, but if they wanted that, there's a couple of guys out there. If they wanted them, I think they would have already signed them. The asking price is probably too much, and those players are probably waiting for teams to have an injury as well to get more money. So I don't think they need the money now. They could during the season if things happen. And they need to go out and trade for a player and then fit him under their cap. But I don't think right now, because they don't need the money, that they would think, you'd like to have that money saved for your cap. But I think you go down the road, if he's going to be with him in camp, you're not going to cut him to start the season. I just don't think you're going to do that. And I think he would be here and be an Eagle. Hey, let's face reality. Number one, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Number two, it's going to be very difficult for them to make the playoffs. Howie wants to get the fans back on his side. And this is a good, and Zach can probably still play, not probably, he still can play a little bit. He's not the starter. So with all those things considered, if you had to make a run at the Super Bowl, I would say, do you want to keep that money or save it for somebody else? But they're not making a run at the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody that watches and covers the Eagles, it's exciting to have them make a run at the playoffs. But, there's teams, just maybe team that's better than them. I think the Cowboys will always choke. I think the Redskins are really good coach. They have a quarterback that's better than the garbage they had last year. And they have a great defense. So I don't know that the Eagles are going to be in a position to make a run, even in a bad division. So no, all things said, if there's nobody out there that suffers an injury and nobody feels like they need a tight end, I just don't see any. They're not going to trade him, and I don't see any reason that they would cut him. That's an opinion. The fact that he's here, I think, is a positive. And I think people are excited about that. I mean, Zach's a great guy. And he really, the one thing that I'll never forget, and John, you probably saw this too, and I've been covering the Eagles for a long time. And I've never seen the chemistry, never, that the Eagles had in that locker room in that Super Bowl year. I've never seen it before, and I don't know that I'll ever see it again. And that's important for a football team. Now, is he going to turn this team around by chemistry? No. But he does. He will help. He will be a mentor like people were mentors to him. And I think that will be a positive for this football team, because they do have a lot of young players that just have to understand what it's all about. It's not that it's a tough game. It's not that easy. So I think that's a positive.